No way this keeps happening. The Toronto Raptors have been plagued with the injury bug ever since the trade deadline last season, and now star rookie Jakob Poeltl has sustained a serious injury as well. As news has come out today that essentially Jakob Poeltl is out for an extended period of time, will miss training camp, so we'll break down that update as well as a blockbuster trade that happened out there in the Eastern Conference, and it's going to change up the division and did have an impact in some of the moves the Toronto Raptors were rumored in a little bit, so we'll talk about that as well. But before we dive into any of that, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Media Day is just days away here now at this point, so Toronto Raptors basketball is right around the corner. There's going to be a lot of storylines and fun things happening in the coming weeks. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. But let's dive into the news because, frankly, we have a shocking trade that shook up the conference, shook up the division, and was definitely caught me off guard. Now, just like most NBA fans, no one predicted that this blockbuster trade, particularly with Karl-Anthony Towns after the Minnesota Timberwolves made the conference finals last year, just had a really, really strong playoff run, predicted that he'd get traded this soon, despite the rumors that he's always kind of been teased and dangled in deals. Even the Toronto Raptors have been linked at times in the past, but he actually got traded kind of out of the blue yesterday as Shams reported that the Timberwolves and Knicks had a blockbuster deal sending Karl-Anthony Towns to New York and then Julius Randle, Donte DiVincenzo, the first-round pick, to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So this was very much a surprise to a lot of people. Actually, our guy Chris on Knicks Digest came out and predicted that a blockbuster trade was happening. He had some sources, some informal sources saying that there was a lot of rumblings about a big deal. He was live for a chunk of last night thinking that the deal would happen as soon as he got off live, and the deal ended up going down. But basically, shout out Knicks Digest, check out them. I know we have a few overlapping fans of Knicks and Raptors out here, but this has big implications because once Mitchell Robinson went down, the Knicks were desperate to try to acquire a center, and the Raptors were linked in a couple of scant reports that were out there about Jakob Poeltl being linked to the New York Knicks. Essentially, the Knicks were linked to pretty well every center in the entire NBA, so there was some buzz, some chatter the Raptors could facilitate a trade that would send Jakob Poeltl to the Knicks, and the Knicks would offer us significant value in return, but obviously that didn't end up being the case. Karl-Anthony Towns is a New York Knick, and now the Atlantic Division for this Toronto Raptors team is stacking up to be an absolute nightmare. We have the Boston Celtics, just won the NBA championship, the best team in the NBA as of right now, defending champions. That's just kind of how it goes. The Sixers, who have Joel Embiid, who have Tyrese Maxey, who now have Paul George, who also have Kyle Lowry on that team, who have Eric Gordon they picked up, they have Caleb Martin they picked up. They have a lot of talent out there on that Sixers team that, kind of getting overlooked a little bit with the big names. And now the Knicks, they picked up Mikal Bridges in the offseason. They picked up Karl-Anthony Towns now at this point. They have OG Anunoby. They have Jalen Brunson. They still have Josh Hart. Still have a few guys on that roster where we have three teams, probably the three best teams right now projected in the Eastern Conference going into next season in our division. So that means 12 times this year we have to play the top three teams in the East, which sucks for the Toronto Raptors, especially where if we're not tanking, if we're not breaking out the kazoos and tanking for next season, frankly, this team needs all the wins they can get. And the fact that we have to play the upper echelon squads night after night after night throughout the course of the season is a bad sign for this team. So that does have serious implications. Let me know what you guys think about this in terms of the Toronto Raptors. But let's dive into the report that has me even more frustrated, as we have a major injury report to Raptors rookie Jakob Poeltl. As essentially, Jakob Poeltl was the 19th pick in this year's NBA draft, and the Raptors team, regardless how you feel about this team going into next season, we are in a retool. We are in a rebuild. We've pushed younger. We're in that direction as a franchise. So having our young guys be able to come out and get reps, get opportunities to develop, especially during preseason and training camp, is crucial for the development of this team. But news has come out today, essentially from the Toronto Raptors PR, that the Raptors announced Friday that Jakob Poeltl sustained a sprain to his right archiomyoclavicular joint. Butchered that pronunciation, is what it is. But during the informal workouts this week, so essentially an issue with his shoulder, his joint. And as a result, he will not participate in on-court activities during the team's training camp next week in Montreal. An update will be provided after training camp, and his condition will be updated as appropriate. Poeltl was picked 19th overall by the Toronto Raptors in the 2024 NBA Draft, following the season at Baylor where he was named the Big 12 Freshman of the Year and was an all-Big 12 third-team selection. So this is bad news. This is not great. Again, this doesn't necessarily mean, season's over, his career's over, anything like that. It's not bad news on that specific front, but Jakob Poeltl, one, is a prospect that is going to require some development, especially those scoring wings. They need reps, they need opportunities to really, polish their game, polish their skill set as they enter the NBA. So missing out on training camp, missing out on preseason where he would get all that run, all those opportunities, because we're not sure with the depth chart of this Toronto Raptors team right now, right, at this sort of wing position, right, how much money, goodness gracious, how much run he's going to get with the team, right? At the 2 and 3, we have Gradey Dick, we have RJ Barrett, we have Bruce Brown, who is dealing with an injury himself. Scottie Barnes is usually going to play more 3 than 4, but, you know, we have Ochai Agbaji's more naturally 2 and 3 than a 4 position there, right? We have a lot of guys on this sort of Toronto Raptors team right now that are going to be demanding run out there at that shooting guard position. So preseason was a big opportunity for Jakob Poeltl to really get some reps, get some run underneath his belt. And now that is something that doesn't seem like it won't be the case, because he's dealing with this injury here now at this point. And this just sucks for his development. You can see him here at the Vince Carter sort of jersey retirement ceremony, right? Or announcement. Masai, Jerry, Vince, and all of them are out there. But Jakob Poeltl losing this bit of development, not getting that opportunity to prove himself, and for this Raptors team to go in this season that wasn't really that deep. The Toronto Raptors starting unit, I think, is awesome. I think we have a really encouraging top 5, top 6 going into this year, which could shock a lot of teams, but it's the bench. We are going to desperately need people to step up. And now with Bruce Brown, with Jakob Poeltl, all dealing with injuries, all out, you know, with this current mix, that's going to be a really, really tough shot, especially the Raptors have one of the toughest schedules in the entire NBA for the first 10 games of the season. So not only are we losing development, we're losing a bit of depth out there for this Raptors squad, and it just sucks to see for now 2 wings now to go down at this point, and it's going to lead to more opportunities for Jakob Poeltl, for an Ochai Agbaji to play more wing position there. It's going to lead more opportunities, maybe a Jamal Shed, maybe one of these guys that are in the deep sort of roster, like maybe a DJ Curtin gets more opportunities here now at this point, you know, in regards to the positioning and players that are going to come out and get that run. But frankly, it just sucks to see on the development side. It sucks to see for this Raptors group trying to put together this young team to figure out who's going to be in the rotations, who's going to be doing that thing, you know, to start off this season. And frankly, as we mentioned, the first 10 games, I believe, are going to really dictate 10, 20 games, how the Raptors are going to pursue this season. What direction are we really going to go into? And without any bit of depth on the roster, and the fact that it's not even training camp yet, and we already have 2 guys that were expected to be at least knocking on the door for the rotation this year to be out with injury to start the season. That is not a good sign. And I Googled this injury before recording, and essentially it's, you know, for Google, you know, WebMD, this is for the average person, not a professional athlete that's expected to, you know, be healthy 110% before they go back out there on the court. They said it's about a 4 to 6 week recovery time. So, you know, that's going to take him into the season. That's going to take him into the first couple weeks of the season. And again, I broke it down this entire summer. The start of the season is going to be crucial for defining how this Toronto Raptors year is going to end up going. So let me know what you guys think about this news, about this Jakob Poeltl injury update. What are your thoughts on that big blockbuster trade that happened? Shook up the Eastern Conference, the comment section down below. You guys have the best thing to start. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. I'm signing out. Cheers.